Coming to a YouTube channel near you.
Hey, hello, and welcome to Spiritual Street Talk with Alethea Jacob. I'm Alethea, and I am delighted that you have tuned into this episode. And whether you are here live tonight, like Nigel and Amy and Roger, hey y'all, or whether you are tuning in tomorrow or next week or the day after, hey Robert, welcome. I am just so glad that you've taken the time out of your busy day to tune into our show. So for any of you who are a little newer, the format of our show, and I say it's our show because I really want this to be something that is interactive and that I am at the service of your questions, topics, things that are of most interest to you. I want to make this hour one that's well spent, where you can get some information, guidance, connection, comfort, answers to questions, however that would be. So anyway, if you are on live, what you can do, if you have a question or a topic or subject that you want us to talk about tonight, please put that in all caps in the chat. And in a little bit, I'll get to the chat. The format of the show is I usually start off with about, a few minutes, 5, 10, it depends, just talking about the week and things that are on my mind and spirit. Then I share messages from Spirit. Before the show starts, I pray and I ask for the Spirit to inspire the cards, and I pick oracle cards and angel cards and tarot cards. I haven't looked at them yet. I flip them over just live for everybody. And it's really amazing how it works out. Hey, Kathy, welcome. It is, no matter when you're tuning in, I've had people tell me, I can't believe it. I watched it live and it was just exactly what I needed to hear. And I've had people say, oh my God, I caught a show from 3 months ago and the messages from Spirit were just perfect, just what I needed to hear. So I don't know how the magic happens in the universe that way, but I do know that the messages that come, hopefully when you hear them, they will ring true to your heart. They'll make sense to you, and they'll give you some peace, direction, or something to ponder even. All right. So, hello. So then after we do those messages, that's when I usually will turn over to the chat and see what questions people have or if there's any other topics. So that's pretty much what we do. And the intention overall of my show, of the Spiritual Street Talk, is to demystify the woo, if you will. Excuse me. To take spiritual concepts, metaphysical concepps, and really bring them down to earth. Excuse me. Okay. I was fine a minute ago. I'm going to put a cough drop in here. Pardon me. Well, you know we're live when stuff like that happens, right? That won't be edited out. Okay. Give me a second, please. Okay. So, well, I guess that's demystifying the woo, right? Bring it down to day-to-day, everyday life. Everyday life, stuff happens. And so what we're trying to figure out is how can we go through our day-to-day life and bring in some of these spiritual concepts? How can we put more energy into manifesting the things we want? How can we work on becoming the best possible version of ourselves that we can in order to fulfill the purpose of our soul? People might say, well, why do I want to do that? Well, when you are fulfilling the purpose of your soul, you're at peace. You feel good about your life. You feel good about yourself. You feel good about the legacy you're creating and the positive impact you're having on the lives of others. You know, you don't just hope. You know that your life matters, that the time that you've spent here on this earth interacting with others, doing the things you've done, learning the skills, impacting others, helping others, serving others, inspiring others through your music, your writing, your art, your presence, your projects. You've made a difference. Your life matters. You've contributed to the fabric of the whole, of the experiences that we have as spirits coming to this human experience. So I try to make things very usable and practical, and address whatever questions are there, and also inspire, hopefully, and encourage y'all to go play, be curious, see what happens when you use different tools like angel cards or oracle cards or pendulums, or learning how to develop your intuition, or taking a class on healing and realizing like we can hold our hands out and we can have the intention to open our hearts and send love, which I'm doing right this minute. And even through technology, you can feel the energy of the intention that somebody else is sending your way, of sending love, of sending comfort, of sending healing. We have a unique ability to touch each other's lives in beautiful ways, if only we just are brave enough to play, to experiment, to learn, to see what we can do, to have what's the worst that can happen? I'm sending good mojo to somebody's direction. And speaking of sending good mojo to somebody's direction, I would humbly request that anybody who's listening and tune into this, please send some prayers for healing to Chris Grizzly and to Mary. They are the heart and soul of the Bigfoot Network. They are the original producers of most of the shows on this network, including mine. And without them, none of this would be possible. And they're going through some physical challenges right now where they need some healing and some extra good mojo and love from us all. So not only do we send our gratitude for all that they've already done and for the plans that they've put in place for the future, but we also want to send them our gratitude for just who they are in this moment, and send them love and healing and our very best wishes for a speedy healing and return to vitality and strength, and being able to get back to doing the things they love to do. Okay. So please do that when you have a minute. And I thank you for that. Okay. So this week it's spring. Happy spring, everybody. So at the moment, it's a little dreary here in Wisconsin. The rain has been falling and it's a little gray and gloomy. But yesterday was sunny and 55 degrees. Most of the snow from the blizzard of last week is melted. And so it's sort of like, okay, yeah, spring's coming. Little green things are starting to push up through the ground. And it inspired me to do a little bit of spring cleaning, organizing. And that's actually part of what I wanted to talk about tonight. I got to pick up on what we were mentioning last week, but there's a real energy that's out there for us. There's an energy at springtime of rebirth, of emerging, of power, of creation. And if we can tap into that energy stream and align ourselves with it, we can utilize it to manifest the things that we want in our life, the things that we need, the things that we want to create for other people. So I would encourage you that as you're out and about, wherever you're living, because spring is coming, unless you're in the southern hemisphere, then I guess it's fall there. But if you're in any of the northern hemispheres anywhere, and it is coming, spring is in your neighborhood and in your world and in your country. If you are out and about, I want you to take a moment to notice the buds on the trees, the flowers that are starting to burst on through, the beautiful colors that come, the fragrances that come. And I am sorry for any of you all that have allergies to the pollens and whatnot, where you can't quite appreciate the smells as much as the rest of us. But I do hope that you can still enjoy the beauty of that spring moment. And when you see those buds or those beautiful colors, let that be a reminder to you that you have this opportunity to create, to plant seeds, to manifest, and to bring something into being in your own world that perhaps you've been waiting to do or waiting to bring forward. You know, the winter is kind of like going in the womb, right? We're incubating, we're planning, we're thinking. We're not out there doing as much because the days are shorter, it's darker. At least in Wisconsin, it's a lot colder. You don't go out that as much. So when spring comes, it's like, yesterday was 55. I didn't even put on a jacket when I was out and about running errands. I'm like, ooh, it's beautiful out here. You know, anything above freezing feels warm in comparison to some of the bitter weather. And that's another thing I wanted to talk about. Okay, I'm getting strange messages. Why am I getting strange messages? I hope I'm still streaming to y'all. I hope this is all good. I don't know what this is. Oh, well, hopefully it won't interfere. So see, this is why we need Grizz back and Mary, because sometimes these technical things happen and I'm like, I don't have a clue. That is not my wheelhouse at all. My wheelhouse is listening to spirit, sharing messages with you, teaching the things that I've learned over the 45 years I've been a metaphysical practitioner. And that's what I do. So I'm doing the best I can. So I really, truly appreciate your patience with me when we have these little technical glitches. And I sure hope you're all still with me. If somebody can just say something in the chat, just to let me know that we're still live, that would be really cool. I'd appreciate that, because I got a very strange message and I'm not sure what it means. But, well, I'm going to keep on talking in the event that we're all still good here. So one of the things about manifesting in this time of year and springtime, you know, it gives us an opportunity to recreate ourselves a little bit. And that recreating can be very powerful, because what if every spring, when you see these flowers emerge, you say, who do I want to be this year? What kind of impact do I want to have? How do I want to go forward and deal with that? Oh, dear. Okay. So I don't know what I'm doing here. So I'm going to try to stop now. Oh, Lord. Okay. Well, again, I hope I'm still on. And then you listening, you could be laughing at me, and that's okay. You'll be like, this lady's a little silly. Okay. But my heart's here, and it's a real show, and it's live, and that's what it tells you. So as far as this week goes, there was also some upsets that happened. You know, it's real life. You know, I found out that my ex-husband has been withholding funds that came back from refunds from the government for both of us, and he got that, and he hasn't told me about it, and that's kind of disappointing. You know, when you're with somebody for a long time and you've shared intimacies and long bits of life and adventure with somebody, and you know, you've been best friends for so long, even though there's a parting of the ways, in my heart, there was always that hopefulness that at least we can still be friends and be civil and, you know, do the right thing. And when people don't do the right thing, it's disappointing, you know, and I know we're not perfect, but it's still disappointing. But anyway, it is spring and there's opportunities abound and spirit is coming through. And I don't know if y'all have noticed, but there is a real vibrational shift seemingly happening on the planet right now. I've had several channelers and medium friends of mine say, you know, that there's a buzz in the cosmos that finally the governments of the earth are going to start to release some of the records and files on the extraterrestrials, on the contacts that have been ongoing with benevolent interdimensional beings, about some of the technology that we've gained from these benevolent beings. And it's going to really create a ripple through the fabric of the consciousness of most people, because for as much as people have seen the movies and are hopeful and they think, oh yeah, I believe that, we're not alone in the universe, when there's actually the proof of that comes, and the translation of some of the old cave paintings and scrolls and even scriptures that have been hidden away and then now brought out and reinterpreted in the light of the information that's going to be revealed. It's going to be a really wild time. And so it's going to be critical for each one of us, in order to survive the tumultuous times that are going to come. We need to be very aware of our intuition. We need to have that sense of connection to the spirits that guide us. And if you're a Christian, you could say it's the Holy Spirit. If you are of a different religion, it can be whatever guiding spirit you feel comfortable with having, right? We have loved ones in spirit who have passed over, who guide us. We have angels that are very much a part of our reality and our world history. Every single culture talks about the star people and the angels and the people, the helpers that have come in times of need, right? So the more we are in tune with and can communicate and understand through our intuition what we should be doing or not, where we should go or not, whom we should trust or not, these are things that will help us not just survive, but thrive during the somewhat contentious and crazy times ahead, right? What will keep you and your family safest? What will keep you and your family away from most of the drama? What will help you keep happy and healthy and prosperous and safe? These are the things to be thinking about as the reasons to develop some of your metaphysical skills and your spiritual gifts, and mostly your intuition. And intuition, in my definition of that, is the trifecta, the tripod of your intellect, your feelings of your heart, and the knowings of your gut, right? Your mind, your heart, and your gut as a partnership, giving you information, guiding you, prompting you, helping you be in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people who will help you, or you will help them, or you'll help each other help others, right? It'll also help you avoid being in the wrong place at the wrong time and meeting people that might hurt you or distract you or derail you from manifesting the things that you want to create in your life. This is a time of acceleration, of vibration, a quickening. And so whatever you hold to be true, whatever you are contemplating and putting words to, as you speak, so you are, right? As you think, that is what you become. Where your thoughts go, your energy flows, right? All these little maxims that we've heard over the years, these phrases are truths that when we step back and say, oh, I really have to be careful what I think. I have to be careful what I say out loud. I need to be clear about what's the vision I keep holding and empowering over and over and over again about the future I want to create. If you're coming from a place of fear and you just see doom and gloom, you're helping to co-create that doom and gloom. But if you can, for yourself, see the positive, see the, yes, there might be trouble out there, but I will survive. My family will survive. We will not only survive, we will thrive. We will be the ones that will be able to help others because we are in that right place at the right time, So those are some of my thoughts about the energy that's out there and what to do with it. All right, so let's shift gears to the messages from Spirit. So the first oracle card that I flipped over is our Master Psychic card. And this says, Remember to use all of your senses in a more spiritual way and learn to trust them more. Well, geez, I was just saying that now, wasn't I? I love this because I don't read the cards ahead of time. I just I pray, I flip them over. So apparently we're on the right track here, guys. Okay. Let the spark of divinity in your heart guide your life and act upon your deepest intuitions. Okay. I love when stuff like this happens, by the way. I call those God winks. Like, so you're having a conversation with somebody and we're all deeply involved with it. And then you pick a card and just what you were talking about, the cards kind of echoing. Those are, to me, those like thumbs up from spirit or the God winks saying, yep, you're on the right track. It's validating. And it just gives me an inner chuckle because it's like, that's kind of cool. All right. The next card that I chose, the angel card, was the angel card of beauty. And beauty says, the outer world is a reflection of your inner. So focus on the beauty within you, your good qualities, your kindness, your gifts, and your talents. Remember that whatever you give attention to increases and grows. Okay, that's a second one that kind of talks about that, right? Where your thoughts go, energy flows. And they just said it differently. Remember that whatever you give attention to in your life increases and grows. So everyone has some beauty in their soul, so make sure you seek it in others. It is kind to remind them of their qualities, and you will help to illuminate them. Surround yourself with things and people with a beautiful vibration, for we are all influenced by that which is around us. As you tune more and more into the incredible wonder of yourself, the wonders of others, and the wonders of our planet, your resonance becomes that of beauty, and others will perceive the radiance of your soul and will be touched positively by it. I recognize my beauty and that of others. Well, that's pretty cool, right? It's like, don't dwell on the negative, focus on those beautiful dreams and the positive things you want to create. And then the next angel card I chose was Creative Project. So let's see what that one says. It says, your soul longs to express itself in creative ways. Your angels are guiding you to infuse artistry and creativity more into your life. Creative expression makes you feel alive and excited and reignites passion towards your life. Yeah, so I was saying a little earlier, that was not as much of a right on it immediately, but I was talking about the importance of tuning into your soul for the creativity of the music you bring through, the writings, the artwork, the projects, the ways that you interact others, your spiritual gifts, right? So through creative projects, you're not only utilizing your gifts, but you are increasing the beauty and the peace and the aesthetic goodness around you in your environment and with all those that you share. And that's pretty cool. Okay. I also chose 3 tarot cards about what's been going on lately. And so it's one for the very near past, this what's happening now, and the very near future. So the very near past is this feeling of, it's the 5 of Rods reversed. And it's good that it's reversed because you can kind of see it looks a little chaotic. But when it's reversed, it is a restoring to order. It's like, let's get organized. Let's deal with all the piles. Let's deal with the chaos. Let's try to figure out, let's get rid of 2025's statements and receipts and all the stuff as we get our taxes done, and clear out the file folders and get ready for this new year that we're already a third of the way into, right? Okay, what's happening right now? The Queen of Pentacles, she is the Queen of Balance, looking at the 5 aspects of life that are most important to be focused on, which is your money and your toys, your health, your relationships with others, your spirituality, and your time. balance of work, rest, and play. So when those 5 things are in balance, that's when you can fully feel your power, feel that you're able to manifest things smoothly and quickly, and also get to the point where you feel a sense of, I don't necessarily call it luxury, but just comfort and confidence in the life you've created. There's a peacefulness, a happiness. You go to bed feeling like this was a good day. I've accomplished what I wanted. I've helped others. I feel good in my soul. I may be tired in my bones because of everything I've done, but I feel good. Okay. And then the near future card is the 9 of Pentacles. And it's basically saying, if you want to travel, you need to get things back in balance. And I'm laughing at this card because this is kind of a reminder. I've been trying to renew my passport, and I don't want to have to go to the post office to have and pay $30 to have them take an official photo. And you can renew online, but you have to have a photo that works. So I've been trying all the photos that I have already digitized. None of those worked. I tried taking some selfies. They didn't work. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. My passport's still good until June. It doesn't expire until then. So I just wanted to get ahead of the game. But it's like, until I get back in balance and figure that out, I'm not going anywhere, right? Not with the traveling. But it's that sort of sense of, we want to travel, but don't we have to get things in balance before we can leave, right? We have to have our money together, our relationship, our work, our physical self has to be healthy. We need to spiritually know, like, well, why am I doing this? Or where am I going? Or maybe it's a spiritual sacred trip and you're going to a place that's going to recharge your battery and connect you to something greater than self and remind you of the potential that you have and are able to express. And that time, that balance of work, rest, and play, maybe it is vacation time. And you're like, oh, yeah, I can finally take that time off and take that trip that I've wanted to take. All right. So those are those cards. And then I always do a quick little crack open my book that I wrote, Portal to Potential. It's on Amazon. And I just... So the page that I cracked open to was this wonderful little highway through the universe. And I'm just going to read it. It says, my definition of spirituality began to become more intersubjective, considering what it meant to be spiritual in relation to both self and to other. The message I began to embody was that spirituality, perhaps in its simplest forms, is being you as you truly are while being fully present to whatever shows up in your life. One of the movies that I had seen somewhere along the line was The Memories of a Geisha. And one of the lines in there that really hit me was, one of the geishas said, we do not become geisha to pursue our own destinies. We become geisha because we have no other choice. Their souls were expressing themselves fully in the roles that they had chosen for that lifetime. And so one of the questions I think it's wise for us to ask of ourselves is, what am I here to embody in this lifetime? What am I here to hold as my truths as I'm interacting with others who are holding theirs? What things do we have in common? What things resonate with both of us? There's an awful lot going on these days in politics that is just head spinning, here in the States. And I imagine it's similar in some other countries, but probably not quite as extreme as what we have here at the moment. And it's almost hard to know, like, what is truth? You know, some of our leaders are trying to just barrage us with lie after lie or distortion after distortion. And when they're caught in it and they are shown the tape or asked the follow-up question, or, go back to the video of what they said about the exact same thing, days ago or months ago, and now the story's changed, and they're asked to reconcile that, more often than not, they diffuse, they deflect, they ignore, they attack the questioner. And so you look back and the exact same person is saying one thing 6 months ago and the exact opposite now. And in both cases, they're like, this is truth. And it's like, well, it can't both be sunny and it can't both be morning and night at the same time, unless you're looking at different places in the world, right? But in this one place, in this one time, there is a subjective, this is now. It's, at least in Wisconsin, it's 6:33 p.m. on Thursday night, right? So if somebody was to say, no, it is really 11 p.m. in the UK, okay, I'll get that. I'll say, okay, that makes sense, with the time change. So we can actually hold that as truth. But if there was somebody else that was here in Wisconsin saying, oh no, it's not 6:33 p.m. here, it's really 2 a.m, I'd be like, what are you talking about? Or if they said, oh no, it's 1 p.m. and it's sunny. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Look outside. You can see the darkness. You can see the clouds. It is definitely not that. All right. And so one of the things that's been happening is almost a systemic gaslighting of the public, so that it undermines our ability to discern what is true or not, which is why it is so imperative that we develop our really strong sense of intuition again, and that we can know and truly discern what is true. What is the empirical truth of the statement, of the situation? There truly are facts that are facts. It's not all relative. It's not all subjective. It's not my truth versus the truth. There are certain things that are just truth, or they're not. They're false. They're either true or they're false. It's a yes or a no, right? We're living in this shades of gray right now that are just a little frustrating for most people that I talk to. I'm a life coach, so I have a lot of people that come to me in a frazzled mode, trying to make sense of it, trying to figure out what to do, trying to figure out what to believe, who to believe, everything going forward. And it's like, take a breath, hone your own skills at being able to discern and use those, and do your own research. Do not just accept the rhetoric or the party line of whatever party you're part of, if you're part of one. Don't just go to those particular news outlets. Go to the ones that are more objective, or even go listen to the ones on the other side to see what they're saying, and do a little digging around, or go listen to the national public radios, NPR, which are not affiliated with either party, right? Or listen to a newspaper or a broadcast from outside. So if you're in the States, listen to the BBC and see how they're reporting a situation that's happening in the world. Or if you're in England, London, or the UK, maybe you listen to an American broadcast, CNN or Fox News or whatever, and see, what are we reporting about what's happening in the world, and how is that any different? So again, this is a time where there's so much churn on the outside that we need to cultivate the peace in our own selves, in our own lives. And part of that spring cleaning is getting rid of anything that no longer serves us, stepping back and saying, what are the habits I need to cultivate in order to be not just the best possible version of me that I can, but most prepared for whatever is happening in the world right now and for what will be coming down the road, right? So if we can get ourselves ready for those kinds of things, then that's helpful, right? That's important. Okay. Let me see if there are any questions back on the chat. Oh, I love it. Amy said, hey, y'all, I'll be listening while doing chores. You're always so uplifting. Well, thank you, Amy. Hope you're getting those chores done. Nice and easy peasy. All right. And okay, so I'm not really seeing any questions here. I haven't actually seen any new posts since I had that little technical glitch a little bit ago. So I'm sure hoping that, let's see, if I don't know. Okay. I have no idea. So maybe I'm going to see it. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. Well, if I don't have any specific questions from you guys, then I get to tune into Spirit and see what messages want to come on through there, which is kind of fun. So let's do that and see what. Oh, I know what I want to mention about. If you guys haven't checked out numerology or astrology, those are both very cool sciences and arts that have been around forever and ever and ever. And they can give you a lot of insight into your, not just your personality, but it can give you a little insight into your strengths, into your challenges, into how well you'll interact with other people based on their numerology and their astrological signs and stages of where they're at in different cycles. And I recently was part of a Zoom class where different teachers were sharing information about numerology and about astrology. And it was really fascinating. And the things that they shared really rang true. And I thought, oh, numerology. So one of the things about numerology, so I'll just talk about that a tiny bit. Feels right to do that. So if you want to find out, well, like what numbers are significant for you, the very first one that most people look at is their birthday, right? So if you look at your birthday, and so, for example, my birthday is June 12th of 1962. So June is 6. So I would add 6 to the 12, right? So that's 18. And then I would take the 1, 9, 6, 2 separately and add those all up. Let's see if I'm doing my math right? So June 12th. So that was 18, 19, 27 when I add the 9, and then the 6, 27, and 6 is 33, and then 2 is 35. So 1935. No, I did that wrong. 1930. It's going to be 36. And so my numbers add up to 36. And you break it down, 3 plus 6 is then a 9. So my birthday number, I came in, my life purpose, or my soul purpose coming into this incarnation was the vibration of a 9, right? And they go from 1 all the way up to 9, and then they have 11 and 12 as some special vibrations. They go through different significances of what does it mean if you're coming in on a certain vibration. And it was, again, it was just very fascinating. But you can do that for your birthday. You can do it for your name, where if you do the alphabet, A equals 1, B equals 2, etc., all the way down. But when you get to a letter that has a double, all right, so it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. So J would be 10. You would count that as a 1 because it would be 1 plus 0. K would be 11. So that would be a 2. So you kind of bring it down, break it down. And then you have your list of what all the letters of the name stand for with the numbers that correspond to it. And so you can find out a little bit about yourself by looking at just all the vowels in your name. You can find out more about just adding up all the consonants of your name, and then adding up all of the letters of your full name, and see how that changes. And parts of it will give you clues about your purpose. It'll give you ideas about your path. It'll give you ideas about where some of your strengths are and what you need to manifest in your life. So it's just something to play with, but it was pretty fascinating. And also astrology is pretty cool because astrology's been around for millennium. Like you go back, ancient civilizations had astrology, right? And you're like, oh, okay. I guess for as long as there's been people on Earth looking up at the planets and the stars and the moon and going, oh, let's document this to the best of their ability. There was information, and whether, some information was pretty advanced by cultures like the Aztecs and the Mayans. And you think, okay, how'd they get that? And they say, oh, the star people came and gave it to us. How did they get this knowledge about planets that are in our solar system that modern science didn't even come to be able to see through telescopes until the 19th and 20th century and 21st century? And yet thousands of years ago, these guys knew that those planets were there. How did that happen? So these kind of things are really interesting to me to think about, and I hope they are for you as well. So I lost my train of thought with the planets and the Mayans. Sorry, guys. Okay, we'll just see what else comes up. Oh, so with the vibrations, coming up with spring, the quickening that's out there, this is a good opportunity to really manifest again and fine tune into your intuition. The other thing I wanted to talk about besides numerology and astrology is kind of cool because it's not only personal for you, but there are astrological things that people share if you're the same sign. And there are sun signs and moon signs and rising signs and all other kinds of aspects that when you get a good astrologer. And by the way, I can highly recommend Nancy McMonigal, and she is out of Virginia, Nelliesford, Virginia. She's amazing. So if you're looking for a top-notch astrologer, look up Nancy McMonigal in Nelliesford, Virginia, and you'll have an amazing experience. So one of the things that happens also is that when you're looking at the astrological books that they have things called transits, which are what's coming up. They're able to sort of look into the near future of what's going to be happening in the heavens, the different stars and the moons and the planets. How are they going to affect us? And, I used to have this not argument, but a conversation with a friend of mine who really didn't believe much in any of this energy stuff. And when I was talking about astrology and saying how it's very scientific and it's very old, because it talks about how the planets and all the systems affect us, she was like, I don't believe all that. I said, well, do you notice what happens just when our moon is full, right? There are the lunatics that come out. Or when the moon it's a new moon, and it's really dark, how things are a little different. And there's this feeling of becoming, of potential, of that new moon, of what can come. And when the moon is waxing and building, so going from that empty new moon to the full moon, there's a building of energy. So there's energy available for projects and for things that are going on. And then once it's been full and it starts to fade and go less and less and less till it's just the littlest bit of a crescent and going to that empty new moon, that waning energy, that fading of the light of the moon, that's a time for kind of consolidating and regrouping and recharging and getting ready for the next phase of building. And so in a lot of ways, it's like the in-breath and the out-breath we've talked about so often, of the hermit, of the creator, of the teacher, right? You go off when you're in that in-breath and you kind of regroup and you listen and you get your information, you get your downloads, you work on your crafts, you figure out what it is you want to bring out to the world. And then in the out breath, it's the sharing, it's the expressing, it's the manifesting of what you've been working on and producing it and bringing it forth to the light, right? So that the moon cycles just do that. So if just our moon can have that, and how little the moon is compared to a gigundo planet like Jupiter or Saturn, right? These things are massive. When you go look at the, I went to the Museum of Natural History once, and they actually had a 2-scale in a room. They had a 2-scale model of the planets of our solar system. So they had the sun and then Venus, Mercury, Earth, etc., all the way through. And the sizes of all of the little moons compared to the planet, compared to the sun, compared to the other planets. And you're like, holy moly, right? You just see how teeny tiny that is. So if that teeny tiny moon of ours can have such big influences on us, just think on how some of these other huge planets also have that energy that could be impacting us when their orbits are close by, or when something is happening, with one of the comet fields or the meteor fields that tend to come by at different times. And a lot of it, NASA and the meteorologist, it's like, yep, it's predictable. They know when it is. There it is. Here it comes. And you can actually have these vibrational impacts happen. So to me, astrology is not only one of those sciences and arts that have been proven over time, because like I said, you go back to the most ancient cultures, they're talking about their version of astrology. But when you actually hear some of the information about the transits and what's coming, and the energetic shifts that are happening and the trends that are prevalent, and you're like, oh yeah, that really makes sense, or wow, that rings so true for me. Those are just important ways of making sure that we're in tune, that we are paying attention, that we can come together. And so if you know that there's a certain trend that's going to be happening towards the end of the year, for example, you can get yourself ready for it. It's almost like the old farmers' almanacs in some ways, right? They would tell the farmers, like, okay, it's going to be a wet summer, or it's going to be a dry summer, or there's going to be a drought for 3 years, or there's going to be this situation or that situation. Well, they can prepare for it a little bit. Okay. Hey, hi, Nilda. Welcome. So we're gonna be having some real high intensity, good opportunities to get things done over the next few weeks and months, according to the astrologers. And they also talk about great windows of opportunity in the summer to get projects out. If you're writing or working on a creative project, that's the time to be publishing books, to be showing your work in galleries. If you're a painter or artist or sculptor, if you're a musician, to finding the gigs and the venues to play at. That it's a real time for expressing and sharing and getting your gifts out there. And then come the end of the year, there's sort of like the financial rewards. It's almost like right now you use the spring to start getting ready, to be fine-tuning what it is you want to manifest. And then in the summer, you're doing the work to put it out there. And then in the fall and the end of the year, you have that harvest feeling of reaping and getting the benefits from all that. So that's kind of cool that's what this year's predictions are from the astrologers. And the other thing, and I wouldn't mention this on a lot of podcasts, but because most of y'all have come through the Bigfoot network to find us here, one of the recent channelers that I was talking to said that they are quite sure from the information they're hearing and getting from the guides that they work with, that by the end of 2026 this year or early into 2027, there will actually be not just the revelation of the documentation from the governments about the extraterrestrials, but there's going to be some kind of appearance. A portal will open, beings will come through, ships will come through, something will happen in a pretty widespread around the earth happening. So it'll happen more or less all at once, and it'll be all over social media. It'll be all over the news. There will be no way to hide it or deny it or cover it up again. It'll finally be like the truth. They'll be out there. The X-Files will be vindicated. Right? So that's according to a channeler friend of mine. So for any of those of you who are looking forward to that, stay tuned, fingers crossed. But they're pretty sure it's going to be within the next year. And that actually resonates with me. That felt true when I heard that. And they said, oh, yeah, between the end of 2026 and early into 2027, our view of ourselves in the universe is going to radically change, because we're going to realize we are part of a community of worlds, not just a community of nations. And that's going to rock a lot of boats. And so, like I said, it's going to be interesting. Get yourself prepared. But even if that doesn't happen, right, I think it's a great idea to do the best we can to prepare ourselves. Prepare ourselves by fine-tuning our intuition, by developing and enhancing our spiritual gifts, by learning how to communicate with spirit so we can get the promptings and be on the path that puts us in the right place, right time, meeting right people regularly, so that we can manifest the desires of our hearts and our hopes and dreams as we go forward. And again, one of the biggest messages I know I feel compelled to share is the importance of sharing kindness and doing kind deeds for others and being there for each other and trying to not just be the best version of ourselves, but to have the most positive impact we can on everyone we meet, not just our immediate family and friends and those people that we love, right? It's about when we pray, when we are sending love out, not just to our immediate small circles, send it out to the world, send it up to many worlds, right? Feel the love and appreciation grow in your heart for all that we have, the many blessings on the physical plane, and share those feelings of love and gratitude out as well as up, right? Up out to the source, up to all the other worlds besides our world, and all the beings that dwell there, so that if they're able to tune in to those finer vibrations and they're feeling all of us ambassadors of love and goodness and kindness, sending love that way, sending love to each other this way, it will not just make us feel good because we've done some little part, right? But it collectively will add up to a much better vibration. You know, in the Bible, it says, when two or more are gathered in my name, there I am. Now, you don't have to necessarily be a Christian, right, to grasp onto that and say, oh, that makes sense, right? When two or more of us have our intentions aligned, there is some magical synergy that seems to happen where we can get things done in a more powerful way, a more graceful way, a more fun way than if we're just doing it alone. We are meant to help each other. We are brothers and sisters on this planet, right? And if we were to look at everybody in the world as our extended family and extend the courtesies, the kindnesses, the helpfulness, the love, the tolerance even, right? Because, you know, there's some relatives we have that we do tolerate. You know, it's like, oh yeah, we all have that crazy uncle that's an embarrassment, or that crazy cousin that we're like, oh my God. You know, you have the family reunions and you're like, yeah, I'm going to go this way when that person comes in the room. But we love them anyway. We may not necessarily like them and want to hang out with them, but we love them as family. And I think if we had that mindset a little bit more for all of our neighbors, for all of the citizens of not just our country, but citizens of our world, that this would be a much better experience for all of us. And so, you know, I'm just a little voice here up in Wisconsin saying, do your part. You know, you'll feel better. I tell you, you know, I had a woman call me today from our church, and a 90-year-old member of our church passed, and they're going to be having the funeral tomorrow. And she was all in a fluster, and she's like, oh, and I need to get more desserts for the luncheon after this and that. And I'm like, what do you need? And she told me a few things, and I'm like, okay, I'm on it. Right. So I'm making Jello with fruit in it, and I'm making chocolate chip cookies, and I spent hours today just on it in the service of this friend and to be of service to the family of the woman who passed. And I felt really good about that. So I realized whenever I go out of my way to help somebody else and be of service, I just feel good. I might feel tired. I might feel like, oh gosh, I had so many other projects I had earmarked for this day. But there are moments to put other people as a priority, to be of service to them, because your soul has brought it to you in that moment. And so once again, I'm going to wrap up our show tonight by thanking you for being here and tuning in. I know how precious time is. I hope that when you hear the messages of the show, that it inspires you and prompts you to be nicer to yourself, to forgive yourself unconditionally, to love yourself unconditionally, and to be out there in the world as a force for good, to share peace, to envision and manifest the most amazing life you can for yourself, for your family, for the people that you love and care about, and to send love and healing to everybody on the earth and everybody in our universe and beyond. Right? Okay, y'all. So you know the drill. Shine your light, share your love and your gifts, be kind to yourself and others, and do your best to have a positive impact on everybody you meet. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Alethea, and you've been watching, we're listening to Spiritual Street Talk with Alethea Jacob. I am so delighted you joined us. Thank you so much. Please do all the nice social media things, ring the bell, follow, share, do all those wonderful things. And please do join us next Thursday. And please do share with any friends that you think might enjoy the show. It's always nice to help somebody else. And if there's anything that you heard today that uplifted your spirit a little bit, or gave you an idea, or put something in perspective for you, then we're on the right track. All right, y'all, have a blessed week. Love you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great night. I'm going to try to end the stream now and see what happens. I'll learn this one of these days, right? Oh, y'all, and don't forget to send some prayers and blessings and some healing energy towards Grizz and to Mary. Okay, we love them and are so grateful for them, and we want the very best for them as well. Okay, thanks so much. Let's see. I need to set. See, I don't know how to set this ahead of time. If I could set this ahead of time, I would, but I don't know. I'm just doing the best I can here, guys. All right. Once again, love y'all. Take great care of yourself and each other, and I'll
Coming to a YouTube channel near you.